Hello. So this afternoon I'm gonna be teaching you how to assemble the elegant rose using petal number 99 and with our clover like rose template. So I made a video yesterday of that other rose I made and it took like an hour, so let's make this one as quick as I can. So here I already pre-cut I'm gonna be making a large one, so I already pre-cut 5 layers of my petals. So from layer 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and each layer has 6 petals in it. And if you ordered from me the rose center, the clover like, you will see that there are numbers in it. So there's the layer 1 and then the layer 2. So in this tutorial, just for making the rose bud, I'll be needing 1 of layer 1 and then 2 of the layer 2 because I'm making the large flower. But if you are intending to use a smaller ones, use the smaller center, rose center as well. So let's set this one aside. And of course, I have my dowel rods here, which I use for curling my petals. I have again my 5 inches base, and then I have this pipe cleaner. And everybody was asking, what's this pipe cleaner for? Well, the thing is, I use this one to hang my flowers, so it's easy for my clients to hang this one around wherever they want. You can put this one in a hook. You can hang it with safety pins for drapes and curtains, or you can just stick it with double-sided tape. However you want to hang it, it's very possible with this hook. And I used to use just regular small wire before, but the thing is, the hot glue doesn't really hold too much on that plain wire, whereas in this pipe cleaner, the fuzz of this pipe holds the glue very well attached to my base. So excuse me, let's set this one aside. And I have my extra stick glue, I have my glue gun and stick glue, and I have my scissors. So first of all, I really wanted to start first with my rose center. So here I already pre-cut my rose center as well. I have 2 of the layer 2 and 1 of the layer 1, as I said, because I'm making the large flower. So let's start making the bud. By doing so, just flip 2 opposite sides upward and then just hug it around each other. See? Yeah. Just enough for it to have this tiny opening here. Ideal, and you know, that's how you can really see the bud looks like. And then just glue the ends. Same thing with this one. And you know, as I said yesterday, you really have to hold on the glued part for seconds, because sometimes when you just prematurely let go of it and the glue hasn't stick there, you know, really well yet, there's a tendency that it will just open up and you have to glue it again. So for me, I think it's better to wait than to repeat. So see, again, doing the opposite side. And just glue the end part. And again, be very careful because they name it as hot glue for the reason that it's really hot. So here's our first bud. And now let's use our second layer of our second petal of layer 2. What we need to do is just dump a little glue in here at the base of your bud, and then just stick it at the very middle of your next petal. And then the same thing as you did earlier, just slightly fold it upward and make sure that the first petals that you're going to hug on your bud are the petals that are on this side where you had last glued your first bud. So let's glue this one, just very slight glue. It doesn't really need too much, as long as you will hold 4 seconds, it should be fine. And then again, the opposite one. And just do so. And then your 2 other petals. Just dump a little glue, another glue at the other side, and hold 4 seconds until you feel like, you know, it's cooling down. So now you have your bud. Actually, you can already use this one, but I would prefer to have a more elaborate bud like this than just this one. So let's continue. Actually, it's just all your preference, you know. So the largest petal, the one petal that I show you earlier, this is what it is for. So what I usually do, I curl up the petals outward. So let's do so. And then flip it and then curl it inward. Actually, if you are going to face this one in one direction, the petals are all, you know, facing in one direction, just outwards. Flip it over, and then again dump a little glue and just stick it in the middle of your clover. So again, start with the petals that are, you know, on the side of your last where you glue your petals on your last bud. So slightly press this one inward, so you will create a curve here, like so. Before that, when earlier I put the glue in here at the tip, this time I'm gonna be putting the glue slightly lower, close to the base, because that's where we're going to glue our petals, and press it inwards to give it a shape. Alright, so same thing with the other, just dump a little glue and slightly press it inward to create a curl. Hold 4 seconds. I think it's good. And then now, time for our last 2 petals. So again, hold and Do the same thing with the last clover petal, and glue and hold. So see, we now have our rose center, which we will place at the very middle. And that's exactly the reason why I want to use a larger base for these large petals, because we have a slightly larger center that we will place in the middle. So we need a larger one. So what I first do is that I prepare my base and put some glue on my pipe cleaner. Actually, this is you can usually purchase like pipe cleaners, and it comes with different colors. I prefer to have mine to just as white, and I cut it in quarters. So this is 1/4 of one strip, and I just curl it and glue here. So the fuzz really hold the glue more than just the plain wire into the paper. So now what I am doing is just preparing my petals. What I do is to cut the largest petal almost at the very middle of it, and then to add more texture in it, I press, see my folded inwards, not entirely up to the tip of the petal, but just enough to see this fold here for more texture. And I'm gonna be doing the same thing with the 4 remaining layers, and I will set this 5th layer aside just in case I'm gonna need it later. And I'm gonna do the same with the 2nd layer. And by the way, if you notice, I don't cut my paper one by one. I cut it by 6, which is by batch, by layer. First reason is that I want it to have a uniform cut. Second thing, I want it to be faster. I don't have patience to wait, cutting it all one by one. So same thing with the 3rd. And then see my folded, and then the 4th. And if you notice, the smaller the petal gets, I also try to make the slit shallower. So now we have slits on all our petals. All we need to do is curl it. So even curling it, I also wanted to do it by batch. So doing it all 6 together, it doesn't really create a nice curl. But I found out that if you will, put 3 sheets together, that's just fine. By the way, I'm using a 65-pound cardstock, and I got this one from Joanne. So they have a sale. I think the pack of 50 was like 5 something, but I just got it for $1.99, so it was a big deal. So with my larger petal, I usually curl all the sides upward. And the reason behind that is that when you curl your larger petals, this is the one that gives definition in your flower. It creates the more rounded flower shape. So that's why. And then again, the remaining half, another 3 sheets of the largest petal I have, of layer 1. So our layer 1 is done curling, And now it's time for us to go to our layer 2. Now in our layer 2, I'm using the second largest dowel rod I have. I find it more reliable, and it comes with different sizes. So unlike with just the stick glue, it's not reliable for me, and at the same time I only use this size, so I don't have any option in curling. So I got these dowel rods from Lowe's, I think, for like $1 each, and then my husband just cut it into pieces that I can easily use. So I'm using the medium size, and from the second to the fourth layers, I want to curl one side outward and then one side inward. And the reason behind this is that we already have the layer 1 to give the shape. Now we want our inner petals to give bloom on our flower. So the texture of curling inward will give more flop look in our flower. So, but anyway, as you learn and do this more, you will find different tricks on how you want to curl it, and it's all then up to you. But for this tutorial's sake, we're making the elegant rose. This is how I do it. But you can absolutely curl your petals the way how you like. So done with the layer 2. Now moving on to the layer 3. And as you see, I still curling my petals 3 sheets at a time. It's so much better than curling it one by one, trust me. So outside and then inward. So now, because we're into our fourth and second to the smallest size petal, I'm using the smaller rod. So again, outward, inward, outward, inward. So now that our petals are curled, we need to prepare this to lay it in our base. And because we made a slit in here, the reason behind we made a slit is that we can shape our petal in a way that it would slightly erect from the base, and that's how your flower get formed. So, and remember, the deeper the cut, the lower this petal will lay into the surface. So I usually want my largest petal, the outermost layer, to be, like the flattest of all the petals. And as I go inward, it's slightly, more erected than the other, than the previous ones. So let's start gluing this one together. Just dump a little glue and, put the other flap of your slit one to above the other, and that's how it would form in a way that it would stand a little bit. So see, if you notice, it has it's standing, but not too much. It's just enough for the petals to really give a shape to our flower. So let's do the same thing with our 5 remaining petals in our layer 1. So 2, 3, and by the way, you don't need to have lots of glue to glue the flaps together, just enough for it to get secure together. So all our 6 petals of layer 1 are finished. So now it's time for us to assemble our petals around our base. So here's my hook. I usually, for some reason, it's just becoming my mantra now to really start from that side. So what I do to evenly distribute the petals together, because the outermost part is the trickiest part, this is how I do it. Just dump a little glue at the very middle of your base on your petal, and then glue it, you know, the farthest, but enough for it to have, you know, something to hold. The farthest part of your base. And flip it. And this side of your first petal is now towards you. And then have your second petal, and instead of continuing putting it next to the first one, I usually put this one exactly opposite to where my first one is. So in that way, it's very well balanced because we have 6 petals in one layer. Now the next part is a bit tricky, and it takes a little bit of practice not to get burnt with the hot glue, but after you master this trick, it's very easy. So I just, without any glue, I just place 2 of my petals in between my 2 first ones, and then holding it in place. And if I'm satisfied with their position, I then start gluing it from the bottom. And hold. And don't forget, you're still holding this one without the glue. So keep holding in it. And again, flip it, and then squeeze some glue in there. And again, be careful, it's very hot. So this next one, the reason why we just glue in the middle, not on the entire thing, it's because I want my petal to be one underneath the other, so that's how you can have, you know, a very well balanced and even distributed petals. So now goes to our 2 remaining petals of layer 1. So again, do the same thing. Position your petals first without any glue in it. Hold tightly. Secure it with your fingers as strong as you can, and then just squeeze some glue from behind. And squeeze another glue on the last petal. And again, this one is still loose, so we want to secure this out. So here we go. We already have our first layer of petals in our rose, and if you can see at the back of our flower, your hook is here holding strongly your entire flower, and it's ready. That makes it ready to hang however your client wants. So let's set this one aside. Now let's go to our layer 2. And in our layer 2, let's make it sure that it's more erected than the last layers. So that's the reason why we lay our first layers first, so we can make it sure that our next layers will have, you know, we can glue it in a position where it erected more than the last one. So I think we're good. So it's like we need to glue it more than half of the other flap. So let's do that. Let's glue it more than half. Okay, and now let's do the same thing in our 5 remaining petals of layer 2. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So here it is. Now it's time for us to place our second layer to our flower. So again, just dump a little glue at the middle of it and make it sure that you will stick around this area here, because we have a large center that we will put in the middle. We need to have a place to put our rosebud center. And bear in mind that the position of your second layer, the petal should be in between of the two petals of the previous layer. So again, to evenly distribute it, let's put the next petal exactly opposite to where our second layer petal is. So sticking in the same area here. And now, because we have the guide of where to put our petals, we don't have to do the same way as we did the last time with the two petals in between. All we need is to dab a little glue in our base and just sneak it in between and press it and make sure that it holds. So same thing with the rest of your remaining layer 2 petals. So that's the 4th petal. This is the 5th. And this is the 6th. That's the disadvantage of using dark colors petal. This web that the stick glue is created is very visible. So if you have some trick on how to avoid that, please leave a comment below. I would really appreciate, hearing it from you. So now we only glue the middle of our flower and it's not secure. So let's secure it first before proceeding to our 3rd layer. So just open it and secure, and secure. Yeah. So you would know which places are not secured yet, and just go back into it and secure it well. So our next petal is layer 3. And now again, before putting it all together, let's make sure that it erects more than the previous petals. So it's like I need to glue it all the way up to the tip. So as I said, you want your outermost layer to be a little bit flat on the surface, and then it's erected more than the previous, and this one is more than your second layer. So let's do all 6 of our layer 3. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So now the same way as we glue the second layer, let's do the same thing with the third. And this time, instead of sticking this one right at the very line of the circle, let's at least step a little bit inwards. Okay. So you can anticipate and you would learn the trick, you know, as you practice making this one more. And I just can see that I need to move closer, you know, see? And then we have our next petal, which is gonna be fine. So there it is. Move a little closer inward. And inward. Inward. By the way, I'm starting to make my own website, so just letting you guys all know that I'll be having one very soon, and I'm gonna be transferring all my YouTube videos in my website, so hopefully you guys will still be there to follow me in my website. So now we're done with our third layer. Now we're moving into our fourth layer. Let's see if this is gonna be our final layer or we need to use our fifth one. So we already glue the flap to the outermost layer of layer 3. So rest assured that our final layer will be should be tightly than the previous. So let's glue it. Let's glue the flip together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now let's, the same way as we did as the second and the third one, but this time we're going to push it, you know, inwards, dabbing a little glue at the middle, and then just place your petal in between of the two previous petal on your previous layer. And as you can see, I stepped a little bit inward to the white circle. So in that way, we don't see all this white base that we have. Excuse me. If we step closer inward. So here, and then more This is the fourth of our the fourth petal of our layer 4. By the way, if you are wondering about the base I prefer to use poster board. It's more sturdy than the usual 65 pounds cardstock, and I used to buy it like one poster board from the Dollar Tree for 69 cents. So it's cheaper in a way. And plus, you know, when using base, I really prefer when it's more sturdy, because it will be the one to hold your petals together as the same, you know, as well as your hook. So now we have our fourth, and I guess it's the final layer that we should have, and we have a little gap, which is the white one is showing, but no worries, because we are going to put our rose center in the very middle. So all you need to do is just put a generous amount of glue, because this rose center is quite heavy, and if you don't secure it really well, there might be a tendency that it would fall off from your flower. So just secure it really well and wait for seconds, and as long as it's already dried up, I guess it's finished. So see, our beautiful elegant rose. Actually, with all my roses, this is my very favorite, because the curls of this particular petal design plus the center, it doesn't really look very busy. And the good thing about this one too is that if you have you know, if you have done roses before, you would know that this is most likely like 20 inches flower. So if you have, or 20 plus, if you have done like roses before, I have a template that I purchased online, and it needs, when I just started, it needs to have at least 32 sheets of paper, where in this particular flower you'll have more, and it will only create like 18 inches for the largest, where in this one it's more, it has more details on it, and at the same time it only consumed 21 sheets of paper. So there you have it, ladies. This is our elegant rose, and I hope you like the tutorial, and visit to my shop again, because I'll be releasing more new designs, more new techniques on a particular flower design. So thank you so much for watching, and we really do appreciate your business with us. Bye for now.